7:05.
I'm going to search for the
Recording in progress.
okay. Until Bill is connected. It looks like Gary, everyone else is here. Hello, everyone. This is Chuck Tirone, Reading's Conservation Administrator. This meeting is being conducted in person and remote in a remote format consistent with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, which further extend the COVID-19 measures regarding remote participation in public meetings until March 31st, 2025. Please note that not all items listed may be in fact discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. This agenda includes those matters which can be reasonably anticipated to be discussed at this meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and all of the material is available at the following link, which I'll provide as soon as I'm finished with this script. And Brian Bowe, the commission chair, will facilitate this meeting. Please note there will be a public comment period at the end of each hearing. Each vote taken during this meeting will be conducted by roll call, and we will begin with a roll call attendance. Brian, can you please review tonight's agenda and take the attendance?
Sure. So we have a couple of hearings today where we are going to have to adjust things to make sure the full team is available. But what we have on tap is a hearing continuation for Zero Cedar Swamp. We have a continuation of an NOI hearing for 555 West Street. Then we'll have some old new business and get on to our discussion items. Having said that, I'll call this meeting at 7:07. And we'll do the roll call now, and this is the order people will vote in. Can we start with you, Walter?
Sir Talbot, Commissioner present.
Tony?
Tony Rodolakis, Commissioner present.
Chirag?
Chirag Staliker, member present.
Martha?
Martha Moore, Vice Chair present.
Brian Bowe, Chair present. With that, I think we can jump right into the first hearing on our agenda. This is Zero Cedar Swamp. Zero Cedar Swamp, their request is asked to continue to October 9th. Given that, can I have a motion to that effect, please?
This is Tony. I move that we continue Zero Cedar Swamp to October 9th.
I'll second that. Martha Moore.
Sir Talbot's in favor.
Rodolakis in favor.
Chirag Staliker in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor. Okay. The next one was supposed to be 555 West Street. We are waiting for the applicant's representative to make it to the meeting. So we can move forward to, well, we can ask to see if the membership from 87 Walker's Brook are available. Can you see them, Chuck?
I don't know who's here from that group. I don't recognize, well, except for Bill. Bill, Cam's you? I don't know if I got that right. Cam, Uso.
Bill, can you tell us if everybody you need to be here is here yet? We're obviously running ahead of schedule.
Yes, Gary Magnuson, I believe, is also on the call, and he is our representative, along with Peter Viteri is the attorney.
Okay,
Okay,
see them?
I'm giving them all permissions right now. So that's just 3, Bill, right?
As far as I know, actually, my brother Rick is also on.
Yeah, I see Rick. Okay, I'm gonna get him in. Yeah, so what we're doing here is, we have a light agenda, but our first agenda item was continued. The second item, not available for an hour. So we're moving you up on the schedule, or at least on the agenda. And if that's okay, we'll move forward. And so do we have your permission to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the plans? Is someone presenting the plans, or is that something you want me to do? I'm just wondering, because sometimes the applicants, consultants show the plans and talk about them.
Yes, I believe Gary Magnuson will handle that.
Okay, great. So you're all set? Just introduce yourself and your team for the record and take it away and bring the commission up to date on your project with the changes that you're proposing.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Peter Viteri. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Verrill Dana in Boston, representing the applicant, Lee Enterprises. I'm going to run through just a brief sort of rundown of the history of this matter and why we're here tonight, and then I'll hand it over to Gary Magnuson from CMG Environmental to go over the technical details of the plan. In January 30th, 2024, the commission entered or issued an order of conditions for 87 Walker's Brook Drive. The parcel is a gas station with a convenience store attached to it. The application or the notice of intent was for work to upgrade sort of the infrastructure around the gas tanks. As part of the order of conditions, there was a condition to resolve a what was termed an illicit discharge into the wetland resource area adjacent to the property. The applicant filed an appeal with the DEP seeking a superseding order of conditions, and in March, at the end of March, also filed an appeal to the Superior Court. Over the last few months, we've had conversations with town council, and we've come to sort of in an attempt to resolve the issues. The applicant has developed a new plan that hopefully addresses the concern over the illicit discharge and into the wetland area. And that's what we're here for tonight. This is a request for plan change under Section 7D of the Commission's wetland regulations. So I'll hand it over to Gary Magnuson. He'll run through what's new, what's on the new plan, what the features are, and he'll be available to address any technical questions that the commission might have. I'm available to address any sort of other questions relating to kind of the history, procedure, and any legal issues or anything like that. So right now I'll hand it over to Gary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, commission members. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. I do apologize. I don't have the technology where I am today to put the plan up. So if someone would be kind enough to put up sheet 1 of 1, the drainage improvement plan for everybody to see, we can speak to that.
I'm assuming this is sheet 1 of 1.
Yeah, we're going to look for sheet 1 of 1 titled drainage improvements. Thanks for putting that up.
There you go. All right, so this is it. Oh, sorry, that didn't, well, let me go back and make sure that that's on. Stop sharing and here we go. That should work. There you go.
Excellent, thank you. So in simple terms, what we've done here is added the catch basin gutter drain in place of the current or the existing proposed illicit discharge area. And the concept of that drain was discussed at a meeting with the board and the applicant and DEP, where we talked about controlling the offsite discharge from the driveway to the west toward the wetland. So the way that meeting went and the discussion was, the commission wanted that discharge blocked off, wanted to capture the water runoff that would end up in that driveway, move it to the east to the detention basin in the center of the property, and then allow it to flow back through the pipe that exists after it got treated or infiltrated into the wetland. So this plan does that. The other, it's not a major change, but we added the wetland plants and vegetation on the western side of the parking lot as discussed at that meeting. So essentially those are the changes from the plan that was approved to this current plan we have in front of you. I can answer any questions, but that's the general gist of it.
Sure, and you might have mentioned this, but I just wanted to make sure that, and part of this is that missing curbing will be replaced.
So yes, in this, on that plan, it does show replacement of that curbing. And then we did recently receive, I think today, the Town of Reading Engineering Division comments on the plan, and thank the Engineering Division for doing that. All the comments seem appropriate. The third bullet talks about if the entire site is proposed to be repaved, might want to direct water toward Catch Basin 1. There is no intent to repave the entire site, so that bullet is moot. And then the fourth bullet, the Engineering Division suggested a solid granite curb behind Catch Basin 1. That's absolutely appropriate. We do show a curb in there, but no problem with granite. So we accept that recommendation from the Engineering Division.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
I have nothing else to add. I can answer any questions though, or I'll do my best.
Okay, is there anybody in the commission who has questions about this plan change? Martha?
The drain that goes across and empties into the center catch basin, is that something where there's a grill across the entire length of it so water can flow in at any point, or does the water all flow in one spot?
That's a good question. So when we were out there, we talked about the possibility of putting a trench drain, which is a drain that would allow water to flow in at all locations. Upon further engineering review and looking at DOT specs and requirements, we changed that trench drain to a gutter drain, which is a DOT approved shallow catch basin essentially. So the water will shed from the left and right in that driveway into that catch basin, and then it will move to the east into the detention basin, and the other water will shed easterly through that riprap swale into the detention basin. So gets there the same concept, but it is not a trench drain. A trench drain might have been a little harder to approve with the DOT, definitely harder to maintain, and probably would not have worked really well because of the pitches that are there, the slopes and topography. So this takes into account better engineering.
So those arrows on the plan are showing which direction the water flows,
That is correct.
and the opening to the gutter drain is off to the left there, kind of a square. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
I'm looking at the other side. Yeah, there. That's the opening to the drain.
Yes, water will enter there and then we'll move to the right, to the east, across that pipe into the detention basin, as the commission had asked.
Yeah. This looks like it solves the problem as far as I'm concerned. I'm pleased with this plan.
Anything else?
I have a question.
This is Tony Rodolakis. It looks like the slope of the 8-inch pipe going from the catch basin over to the infiltration basin, the slope is 0.006 feet per foot, sorry, foot per feet. Did the engineering department comment on that slope?
There is no comment from the engineering department on the memo that we received dated the 19th.
Okay, thank you. Typically, I see a little bit of a steeper slope, a 0.008.
I can add that the reason for the gutter drain is there is no topography on this site to make that work. So that is pretty much the shallowest we could possibly make it work to get that water into that detention basin on the right-hand side that you guys are, the east side that you're asking for. So, preferably it'd be steeper, but it's not.
The danger is that if it's not steep enough, it could back up and flood, but it's not a long distance, so it may not be an issue.
What's that? Walter, I can't see if your hand is up or not. Do you have anything you want to ask?
Yes, yes, please. Is there a maintenance plan to make sure that the grilling on that catch drain doesn't clog?
Yes, there's an operation and maintenance plan to maintain all of these improvements.
Walter, anything else?
Should do it.
Rog, you have anything? I only have one question, and it's actually a broadening of Walter's question. He was asking about the grill, and your answer was that there's a maintenance plan for all these improvements. Does that include that retention area in front of the gas station in its totality? I mean, we all observed that that was had pretty well filled in to a great extent over the years. So is that part of what you're planning on for maintenance?
That is correct, to maintain all of the inlets and outlets properly.
Yeah, so let me just explain, unless this has happened, I think we still need Mass DOT's approval, but it is on the plan, and once they approve it, that part about maintaining the detention basin was part of the old order of conditions, so they've already agreed to that. They'll just be adding this new section to it, but if I'm mistaken about waiting for Mass DOT's approval, please correct me.
Okay. It's just something, I know that the current owners were not the owners when this was done. It wasn't clear just how well understood that responsibility was, which I want to be sure that it's on the record today. That's the only question I have. Are there any other questions? Okay, then it seems like the decision we have to make. Oh, hang on, I skipped Chuck.
Do you want me to get that question? I'm gonna ask that question.
That's a good idea.
Sure, Peter, this question's for you. And I appreciate you coming to tonight's meeting. So the commission was wondering if they approved a minor project permit. It's unlike a amended notice of intent, a notice of
Order of condition.
Order of conditions. Yeah, it's unlike an order of conditions because they're not recorded. There, I got it. I finally got it out. Sorry, it's unrecorded. So they don't. So they want to know the assurances that can happen with just having a minor project permit change. And let's say they approve that and they have a few conditions. how do we make sure that's incorporated into the existing recorded order of conditions, or if it's not recorded, when it gets recorded?
Well, I'm assuming you went by minor, you mean the insignificant, which is the term that's used in the regulations, which requires no amendment. I would think that the regulation says if the determination is that it's insignificant, then no amendment is required. I would think that the original order of conditions would still stand. There would be no further document issued, and so no further document, in my mind, would be available to be recorded. So I would think that probably the determination would be significant to have an amendment issued. So there's an amended order of conditions that incorporates this plan change and any additional conditions that might be imposed by the commission tonight, so that that amended order of conditions gets recorded. It's probably the only way to ensure that, you know, a new document that reflects anything that's added tonight gets on record.
Exactly. That was what we were talking about, just, okay.
Okay, so then.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So the decision we have to make about this has to do with whether or not we think, is it an insignificant change and therefore requires no amendment of the order of conditions? Is it significant enough that we would want an amended order of conditions? Is it so large a change that require a whole new NOI? So that's what we're going to come down to. I guess, you know, Martha's already said that she thinks it's a good plan change that's out there. Questions have been relatively minor at this point. From my perspective, I'm thinking that it is most likely option A, which is insignificant, not requiring even an amended order of conditions. The way we should do this is somebody can offer a motion, and in that motion, they could suggest which one of the three options we would vote on. And then if necessary, we would have further motions. But having said that, I think at this point, I can take a motion for how to proceed on that choice of the three options.
Can we discuss the options?
Sure.
Walter has his hand up.
Walter.
Can we discuss for 1 second the definition of significant? Because this particular issue is what's held up this whole thing for months. To me, that makes it significant.
And I wanted to make sure that it was clear for what Peter let the commission know, that in order to incorporate this new set of plans and any new conditions into the order of conditions, it would have to be, in his opinion, I think in our opinion, but attorneys, that it would need to be an amended order of conditions. So that's what I heard. I just wanted to make sure that's clear. You're certainly welcome to make any motion you want. I just wanted to make sure that that was.
I'm leaning toward option B. I think an amended order of conditions. I think it's a large enough change, and it's a very positive change, right? It's blocking off that illicit discharge, and it's redirecting the stormwater away from the drinking water zone A to a infiltration basin where it at least is going to get some level of pretreatment.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I think it's.
And there doesn't seem to be any way to like record another document that's, I don't know, notarized or something like that, because we could certainly make up a document and sign it, but if it can't be recorded and we can't get that plan as part of the order of conditions, that seems to be something that we can't overcome.
And I would argue against a new notice, an amended notice of intent, because it's not an adverse change.
So Walter, we kind of took your question and then kept on going with it. Was that description of significant sufficient to you?
Yeah, I like Tony's description.
Okay,
I don't want to put any more burden on the applicant than necessary, but I think I agree that an amended order of conditions would be the way to go, so that a future commission would see this plan with the catch basin and the pipe going toward the center. The gutter drain and the pipe going towards the catch basin would be recorded along with this plan. I think it's important to have that design incorporated into this order of conditions.
is there any more discussion from the members? Doc, do you have anything to add to that?
I think that's.
Then we've had a discussion. We're ready for a motion if somebody wants to offer
Do
one.
you want to take general public?
Yeah, maybe. Well.
Yeah, it doesn't, I
Your
can,
hands
I
being.
can ask if there's anybody in the video audience or anybody here who has comments to make on 87 Walker Brook, please raise your hand. I would be surprised. Okay,
All right, in that case, I would like to move for that we approve an amended order of conditions for 87 Walker's Brook Drive.
This is Tony, I second that.
Mr. Talbot's in favor.
Tony Rodolakis in favor.
Chirag Stilicker in favor.
Martha Moore in favor?
Brian Bowe in favor.
Okay. So the commission has made a vote and I guess they like the plan from what I heard, but wanted incorporated into the original order of conditions. So they're asking for an amendment to the order of conditions, which is quite, it's I think it's simple enough. It's a request letter, the plans, and I believe the amendment needs their notification to abutters. So we'll check into that, but that's what they've agreed to. And I guess that's all we have to say about this tonight. And I appreciate everyone coming here. Any final thoughts from the 87 Walker's Brook team?
Could you describe in a little detail the plantings that you referenced?
Sure, I'll defer that question to Gary. I guess I have a question for the commission. Is the amended order occasion, is that motion been approved tonight, or does that have to be taken up at another hearing?
No, that was approved.
So in regards to the question regarding the plantings, I'm gonna punt because that's out of my lane. I'm not a landscape architect. We had a landscape architect do that work, so I don't want to misspeak.
Are those on one of the drawings?
Yeah,
Oh, I missed it. Okay.
yeah. I think it was sheet 1 of 1. We were looking at them. It was listed on the side.
Yeah, the planting schedule is on the right-hand side of the sheet, and then the codes and everything are on the left-hand side, and they arrow to where everything goes. I apologize, not my expertise. Don't want to misspeak.
So we're
Thank you.
ready to.
That's it. Okay, now we're ready to move on. Thank you all for coming
Thank you.
virtually. Okay. Is everybody you need here, as is Maureen?
She's gonna be online, so I don't.
Right, but not yet, right?
Yeah, she hasn't.
It's really yet.
7:45.
We'll see.
Okay, in that case, while we wait a little bit longer, Martha, do you want to, we're gonna look at some violation notices. We had a site visit to 51 Cross Street. Do you want to talk about our visit there?
Sure. The reason for that visit was because when we went out in the winter, there was ice on the pond, so we couldn't see whether there was filling in the pond. We went out last week and there was a lot of wetland vegetation and basically no water left in the pond. And we did see some cinder blocks in the bottom of the pond, but no significant filling. And I believe the homeowner agreed to remove the cinder blocks from the pond. Anything else you can remember from that?
I
visit?
just want to give some of the new members a quick backstory. Essentially, that's a situation where DEP had dropped a note to Chuck, concerned that there may be some filling of that body of water back there, which is what caused it there initially. Martha's description of it was good, and the homeowner did say he would do his best. So I may have heard that a little bit differently than you, but essentially, that's all we were focused on was the pond itself, because we looked at the rest of the property when we were there in the. Is he going to give you a notification when he has finished his task?
No, the next step would be that whatever the commission wishes after we talk about it tonight.
Yeah.
To send him out a letter with timeframes, probably.
From my perspective, in that letter, I would like us to say that he has to do it. It's not just do his best. The 6 or so items we pointed out, the cinder blocks, plastic on the other side of the pond, we have the list. I would like him to be required to take those out, especially now when it's still dry. So it won't be there when it freezes over again. So that's really the only tiny thing I would focus on is that change in tone, if you will.
Must be completed by October 23rd is our second meeting in October. It might be a good meeting to have that.
Again, there's only 6 items, so 6 or so.
And then we would have to do a site visit.
Okay, I think that covers that. No vote or anything required. Let's see. So, by any chance, are you Mr. Foster? Okay, so while we're waiting to move on to this one, do you want to come up to the podium?
Sure,
Introduce yourself and your address?
sure, Mr. Foster, you need my address?
Yes, please.
Sure, 33 John Street, why you guys can snoop on me and see if I'm throwing cinder blocks at my
No,
swamp.
need it for the record, but
33 John Street. I just want to know why there is a dog, no dogs allowed at Bear Meadow. And I've looked online, I just want to find out what led to it.
Mhm.
Who decided, I assume you guys, why you decided that?
okay.
Did that go to any kind of vote or get sent out to the other people in town, or is it strictly you need to be in the know here?
So I will take you through it from my perspective, and others can fill in around the area
Sure.
as required. But the commission has been considering for some time the effect of dogs on.
And how long is that? How long? I've been here 10 years. I haven't seen
I'll tell you
more
what,
than 100 people in that park.
let me finish
Sure,
my story and then we can go back to you.
sure.
So we've been considering it, talking about it. We've had some concerns. Then we fairly recently engaged Mass Audubon to do a study of Bear Meadow, to give us some evaluation of what's there, some suggestions for how to try and bring it back to the way it was before, more of an upland meadow. We got that report from them. In it, there was a piece of it concerning dogs in a natural area. That prompted our conversation further. We did have at least 2 open public meetings where people came to give their opinions and to talk about it. So I will try and encapsulate the issues we had. And this is both, well, actually from talking with the person who did the study, doing research on our own. But the issue is that dogs, to a lot of the wildlife in a place like that, inherently is a natural predator.
Dogs on a leash,
Dogs. And
on a leash, walking down the path.
we agreed that I would finish.
I just think you're wrong, but okay.
So a bird won't know if your dog is friendly. They won't know if your dog is on a leash.
Bird is in a tree.
That's an example. Actually, and there are ground birds, for example, there are.
Sure
grouse,
there are. There's ground birds everywhere.
which is one of the species we're trying to protect. And there's other wildlife there that we want to protect. Dogs leave a scent. So you have a certain number of cases where a dog can actually catch wildlife. It's relatively small, but it's not zero. You have a much greater extent where dog scent is interpreted as a predator. It causes things like a breakup of the habitat. It causes populations to break up. It affects the mating habits. It affects where they go for food. The animals will naturally avoid a predator, so they won't necessarily be in the best places for food. They won't be in the best place to have cover from other predators. And so it all has a negative effect. In some cases, in some of the studies, it's as much as 40% of the loss of species. We don't have that documented here in Bear Meadow. That's from some of the research done. So a dog on a leash is still a problem because it still leaves scent. It still marks its territory, which has the same effect. A dog off leash is worse, as you can imagine. Not all dogs, puppies, some breeds are more rambunctious. They go off trail. And so we decided for all these reasons that we needed to limit not just dogs on leashes, but dogs. Now, we decided to do this only in this one area. All the other conservation.
Yeah, why this one area?
This one area, because this is a place that, well, there's a number of reasons. It has different accessibility points because of Matera cabin and what have you. It has some unique species, like it has the mating pairs of the grouse, the woodcock, sorry, that I mentioned earlier.
Now, is that mostly in the meadow or deep in the woods where everybody walks their dog?
Well, they actually walk it all over the place, but that particular.
Now, if you just said, hey, no dogs in the meadow, no problem with that. I mean, you guys destroyed it with
Why don't you?
layer and all that gravel.
Why don't you hang on, okay? And so the species I just mentioned is in the grass, but there are other species throughout all the woods and they see dogs as predators. So it's not just a grassland situation, although that one is particularly egregious. And so dogs off leashes are a bigger problem. Dogs on leashes with people are a problem. So what we decided is that the other conservation areas would be kept available to dogs. We want them on leashes and up to only 2. In this particular area, we're protecting more because we're also trying to, as I said, bring it back somewhat to maintain it as a more natural place. We are looking at recommendations in that plan for dealing with some of the encroachment of trees that has happened over the years. So this is the full thought process that brought us to the point where dogs are banned from Bear Meadow. Now, be my guest.
You say you want to bring it back to a natural, more natural place. So you go and dump 2 tons of gravel to make a accessible walkway when there's a handicap accessible parking lot, which they can wheel right to the stand that's there. So you had to cut down all those trees, dump all that rock to get from the other parking lot. Seems like you're just destroying the land.
Can you tell me what you mean by cutting down all those trees?
Well, you made a huge path. Trees came down.
You're talking about, okay, you.
Yep, the new path.
But this.
So you thought, let's keep it more natural. But let's take down some stuff and dump a bunch of rock
We want the area.
in an upcline slope where you'd have to push a handicapped person up there. They're not getting up there themselves.
I believe that the purpose of that path around the edge was to
Destroy nature.
reduce the encroachment of trees into the meadow. It's in the.
Why don't you guys just cut the trees that fell though and leave the trails?
So what Martha's referring to is in the plan we got from Mass Audubon. What it recommends is that trails go on the outside because having a trail there makes it less likely that there'll be.
But you didn't need a trail there.
We want trails, we want people to enjoy it. We just want to minimize the impact. And so having a trail that people can use that also doubles as a mitigation for encroachment of trees. It was a
I
recommendation.
mean, I'd love to bring my dogs there and use that trail. I've been going there for 10 years. I'm not gonna stop going there.
Okay, so that's,
Is it a bylaw in the town?
no, it doesn't have to be a
Who put the
by
sign up and who paid for the sign?
conservation,
taxpayers?
conservation.
You guys chipped in,
No,
taxpayer money?
no. This is not taxpayer money. This is money that's allocated to us. Well, there is some that we get through budgets, there's some that we get through other means.
It's the other means.
Doesn't matter, hang on a second. So this doesn't go to a bylaw decision because this is conservation land. So
Yeah.
conservation,
For all town employees, for all residents of the town,
for conservation land.
for all town residents to
Managed
enjoy.
by conservation,
Right, by volunteer committee that
so
wants to make the
you-
decisions that I can't bring my dog into the woods for my dog to enjoy nature. I'm supposed to walk my dog down Main Street?
how
You
about
guys,
Pine Vale,
how about a dog park in this town, which I've asked for 6 years?
Others have asked for a dog park.
Yeah.
That's a different topic. That's not.
I know it's not, but when you tell me I can't bring my dog to the woods,
We're telling you, you can't bring it to that one.
that
area
one woods, the one that I go to
of the-
every year,
Yeah.
every day for 10 years. And I barely see anybody. I believe I might have saw this gentleman there the other day. I don't see anybody there. Me and my daughter go there every day and walk our dog.
So we've given you a fair amount of time. The bottom line is,
I will not stop going there.
okay, so.
So I hope to see all you there.
So let me address that. So what will happen is
By
if,
breaking a law.
yes,
What law?
the,
What law?
so you will get a ticket,
For how much?
$100 is a fine,
Pay it all day.
and that's fine. It will then go to Superior Court, and that's where you will have to deal with whatever disagreements you have.
Excellent. I look forward to it. You know, waste the police time to come down here and tell
Oh, no.
people they can't walk the dogs. So
um,
who enforced the fine? Police or
just
no?
just a comment, we actually had 3 public hearings before we took the final vote to make this decision. And those were open public hearings, people did comment
just aware of it.
to us about it.
Just aware of it, came the first one I could.
There are a lot of people who walk their dogs in Bear Meadow regularly, who came to the first public
Yeah, that's
hearing
the
and spoke
only
about
people
it.
that's there.
So
The
you said you
only
were a
people
person
at
who
that
walks in
place,
Bear
I've seen
Meadow.
one person with binoculars. The only people I've seen there are people walking their dogs.
You missed me,
I look
I walked
forward to
there.
seeing you there.
I walked there.
I know, and the people are great, and the park's great, the trails are great.
Mr. Foster,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, committee. Have a great night.
thanks for coming.
Good luck with these guys.
Maureen on yet?
Let's check.
I think she's waiting for.
Waiting to let in?
Is she's on?
She's trying, just waiting for you to let you in, let her in.
Oh. Okay, yep, no, I see Jack and I see Maureen. So so Jack and Maureen right here now.
This is 555 West Street.
And so on.
Are both Jack and Maureen here for you, for
Just
this one?
Maureen.
Just Maureen, okay. Okay, so let's get Matt and Maureen. All right, Maureen, I just let you into the meeting and there you go.
Okay, so this is a continuation of the notice of intent hearing for 555 West Street. Thank you, Maureen, for coming. And your
No,
folks,
thank,
obviously.
th- thank you for being flexible and working with me on the time on the project. I appreciate that. So at the last hearing, Kevin, the design engineer, was present. I watched the hearing that I missed. I produced a supplemental package to the commission, trying to address all of the concerns. I am more than happy to go through the package. I know the commission has probably reviewed it. I don't know if you have any questions, but would you like me to go through it, or do you have any particular questions?
If you could go through it, but briefly, that would be helpful. Just to be sure everybody's on the same page.
Sure, so I'll try and be quick. So the items regarding the leaves, the lawn debris, potted plants, and the trash, all of those items will be removed by hand. We're requesting the commission to make this as special conditions in the permit. Regarding the invasive species glossy buckthorn, those will also be hand removed and managed. Again, we're requesting the commission to make this a special condition. Burning bush, we have a burning bush shrub on the southerly side of the dwelling that will be removed. The erosion concerns were an item of concern. So I think we originally showed a wattle. We are replacing that with a 12-inch mulch sock with a silt fence. We show a stockpile area that will be surrounded by erosion controls. One of the items of concern was the shed at the rear of the property. That was proposed to be taken down. The erosion controls were a little bit too close to the shed, so those have been adjusted. We added a silt sack into the catch basin on West Street. The infiltration trench. So the original proposal showed the infiltration trench just adjacent to the driveway. That has been relocated onto the existing driveway so that no work is any closer to the riverfront area. The driveway is proposed to be repaved within the existing footprint, and all of the material will be removed off-site the same day. No stockpiling is allowed. That note has been added to the plan. We show a construction access route on the plan. The table's been updated on the plan per the commission's request. The existing and proposed deck are modeled as impervious. The mitigation area or proposed no disturb has increased from 5 to 7 feet along the wetland boundary. So the project incorporates 1140 square feet of mitigation. The plantings have increased from 1 tree and 9 shrubs to 1 tree and 14 shrubs. The plantings shall be placed 10 feet apart. The riverfront standards. So I addressed the riverfront standards. Okay. So this project is considered a redevelopment because we have an existing home and driveway and impervious area. That is what's actually considered degraded, which is impervious. Lawn area is not considered degraded. At a minimum, the proposed work shall result in an improvement over the existing conditions of the riverfront area. We are improving the existing conditions by providing 1140 square feet of mitigation. We're managing invasive species. We're restoring the BVW by removing lawn debris, leaves, trash, We're replacing the concrete walkway and patio with pervious pavers. We're providing rooftop and driveway infiltration. Stormwater management stormwater management is provided according to the standards established by the department. The single-family dwelling is technically exempt from stormwater management, but we are providing rooftop and driveway infiltration. Let's see, within 200-foot riverfront area, the work shall not be closer to the river than the existing conditions. We are not proposing the work closer than the existing conditions. Proposed work, including expansion of existing structures, shall be located outside the riverfront or towards the riverfront area boundary and away from the river. The proposed addition, deck, and walkway are not closer than the existing conditions. And as I've stated, we're improving the overall riverfront. The area of proposed work shall not exceed the amount of degraded area, provided that the proposed work may alter up to 10% if the degraded area is less than 10%. So the total lot area is 1547 square feet. The existing impervious area is 2855, or 18.5% of the riverfront area. The project proposes an additional 441 square feet of impervious area, and we show that on the plan. The work within the 200-foot riverfront area is proposed within the area of lawn. I provided that calculation. So a small portion of the addition, deck, front porch, and pervious pavers are proposed within an area of lawn. So that comes out to 521 square feet. In order for this to be allowed and possibly approved within the riverfront area, we are required to provide 2-to-1 mitigation. Mitigation includes eliminating the maintained lawn, providing 1040 square feet of mitigation by incorporating native plants. This area will be protected in perpetuity. In addition, we're proposing to manage the invasive species, incorporating impervious pavers, restoring the BVW, incorporating rooftop and driveway infiltration. All of this that I submitted to the commission was submitted to DEP. The reviewer is Tyler Ferrick. I had emailed him and asked him if he reviewed the supplemental information and if he was all set, had any questions. And he was satisfied with it. He said that he was all set. So I can open it up to the commission with any questions.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions on the commission?
Does anybody else want to go first?
Martha?
All right, I just have two minor questions. At another site recently, we were very distressed to find that construction vehicles had scraped the bark of some of the trees that were remaining. Do you expect the construction vehicles to go anywhere near the trees that are on the edge of the property furthest from the river? Or are those not going to be in any danger of damage by the vehicles?
So the construction route is shown to the right of the house if you're looking at the house from the street.
Yeah.
So we try to put it as far away from the river and protect the resource areas as much as possible. I don't suspect that they will damage anything. I know there is one tree on the right-hand side that we were asked to trim. The limbs are overtopping near the house. So that should be taken down. And we're removing that burning bush.
I'm looking more behind the house. Sort of between the place where the play area is going to be taken down and the shed on the right-hand side of the plan. There's two trees, existing trees to be trimmed. And I'm just hoping that they will also be protected from construction vehicles during the project. So if the vehicles were going to be getting anywhere near those trees, I'd like to see orange fencing put up around them or something like that so that the drivers don't crash into them. And I apologize for not saying that sooner, but I only recently saw this other site where it was clear we should have done more to protect the trees from damage. So.
That's not a problem. We can incorporate some fencing. In fact, I think it's a very good idea.
Thank you. And then my only other question, and again, I apologize for not letting you know sooner, but I'm looking at the plantings along the edge of the 7-foot zone of natural vegetation, and they seem to be all in a completely straight line, all at the farthest edge of that zone. And I wonder if it would fill that area better if they were staggered a little bit, some closer to the river, some further away, rather than all at the far edge. And
So-
maybe other, if you have a thought on that, I'd appreciate that answer.
So we can certainly stagger the shrubs. That's not a problem. I think the initial thought was to kind of, the shrubs would help demarcate that 7-foot no disturb. So that was the thought, but if the commission preference is to stagger them, we're happy to do that as well.
Maureen, what's the sunlight over there? If they do get staggered and get pushed closer to the wetlands, a little more shady, do these plants have a decent chance of survival?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the plants we're proposing are blueberries, winterberries, and red maple. I mean, the red maple will grow anywhere. The blueberry and the winterberries grow fine in forested wetland. I think it's just a matter of, getting the shrubs and tree established and watering and, taking the first year of the initial care of them so that they don't die.
Okay, and I'm sure we had mentioned it in previous meetings, but we would expect the red maple to be a native variety and not a horticultural variety.
Absolutely.
Do anybody else think one way or the other? I'm looking at there's one red maple
Yes.
and 7 each of winterberries and blueberries. And just my sense is we have an area we want to fill and we're making a line around the edge, and I would rather see it more filled. But if other people think that it's better this way, I'm willing to take other people's input.
Well, that was part of what I was going to talk about when it was my turn.
Okay. That's all I had.
I can do something, I can talk now. I don't know if the other committee members. Yeah, so Maureen, I see that you're taking credit for restoration and not mitigation at 2-to-1. So at 1-to-1, restoration means to restore the area back to its natural condition. And I think that's what Martha is talking about. Do you meet the mitigation 2-to-1 over that that number? I think I have it here. If you hold on a second. These things get in the way.
Yeah, so we're proposing an additional 521 square feet of alteration within an area of lawn. And we're providing the 1140 square feet. So it's actually a little bit more than 2-to-1 that we're providing.
But you're
Because-
not. Well, okay, yeah, so you're setting aside an area that is to remain unmowed but maintained so that things don't get choked out. And that meets the 2-to-1, so it's mitigation.
Right.
Is that right? So it's the plants, but it's also that area. Even though it doesn't have like a ground cover layer and a shrub layer and a tree layer.
Right, I mean, the thought is, we'd like this area to naturalize and come back as forested. It's not gonna be landscape, it's not gonna have landscape beds, it's gonna look like a forested wetland or something of that nature. So that we essentially improve the buffer. Right now, it's a lawn area. And in addition to this mitigation, we're also providing the rooftop infiltration, driveway infiltration, the pervious walkway, the pervious patio. We're removing the clippings from the wetland. And I think, oh, and the invasive plant species management of the buckthorn. So I think we really tried to make an effort, even though this is a sensitive area and we're within the 200-foot riverfront area, we recognize that. So we want to improve it.
So that area where the planting is going is more than 242 feet, or 1,042.
1140 square feet,
Yes.
Great.
1140 square feet.
And I believe it's on the plan on one of the pages.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's on the plan somewhere. And I did see this right here.
There it is.
Yeah. Well, there's the math right there. It's actually 2 foot shy.
Yes, I was gonna point that out, but that would be a bit much even for me.
Can we get an extra 2 feet on that there, Maureen, so you can meet the standards?
What standards? We meet the standards.
Well, I was just saying 2 to 1 at, those calculations come out to 1,040. Oh, you have 44. Why did I say 1,040?
So the minimum we're required to provide is 1,044 square feet, and we're providing 1,140 square feet. So it's
So-
almost an additional 100 square feet. So we're over.
I know, I should have blown it up a little bit. Okay. Okay,
I will say in defense of Chuck, when I first read it, I had the same reaction. And then my intense math training came through and I figured out you were about 100 over.
yeah, any Merrimack College grad out there is, you know,
So that
We
takes
got
us
Brian
back
here
to
to
the
help.
question. We've got a line of shrubs at the edge of that area, rather than filling that area with shrubs. And that's why I'm thinking if some of the shrubs are 3 feet from the river and some are 7 feet from the river, then they,
it looks unnatural already.
yeah.
Uh.
Right, but I'm thinking it would be, filling the area rather than outlining the area if you spread the shrubs out a little bit more.
But it would be hard to maintain that line. Also, I mean, the shrubs actually kind of create a barrier.
Okay, so you prefer,
No, I don't. I think something has to, if you're gonna spread them out and they're not using the shrubs as a barrier, you gotta come up with something else to kind of like maintain that line. That's what I'm thinking.
okay,
I mean, that could
May
be
I'm sorry.
putting in some stakes until it grows in.
Yeah. Is it, what do you expect to grow? What's there now? Grass or?
Yes, it's lawn area right now. One of the thoughts that the homeowners had was to line the area with stones. So not boulders 2 or 3 feet, but just kind of nice stones to line it, to line the area. That was one of the suggestions the homeowners had. And regarding the shrubs and the placement, if this is appropriate, this is something we could possibly work with Chuck if he was available on the placement of shrubs where it is in the field. If lining this doesn't work.
So, could I jump in for a second? So
Sure.
the question that I think Chuck asked, which was gonna be mine, is, so in that new 7-foot area where you're gonna have it be natural,
Mhm.
what's the ground cover there? So I know outside of it towards the property is grass, it's lawn, but what do you do around the trees and shrubs in that 7-foot wide barrier?
The thought was to let it naturalize. So obviously no mowing, but just let it come up as natural. If the commission wanted to do a seed mix, that's something we could incorporate, but keep in mind, we would have to rip up the lawn area, expose the topsoil, you know, and then put the seed mix down. The seed mix won't take in an area of lawn.
Okay.
So I was trying to minimize impact, but you know, if you want a seed mix, we can do that. We got to rip the lawn area up.
Where is the 25-foot Z and V on this? Is that the line we're talking about?
Chuck, go up behind the house and zoom in. It's where that triangle is. What's that say?
All right, Maureen. So
That's the 35.
So that's the 35. So this is
7 feet.
zone of natural vegetation. Well within inside the zone of natural vegetation that has lawn on it, that you're just going to dig up areas and put some plants in there and then hope that the lawn that's been there for years or decades is going to somehow naturalize into something else.
Well, it's pretty mossy there, and
It's mossy.
Yeah,
it's mossy.
it's very shady.
And it was so mossy that when I was there with Maureen, we advanced a couple of augers to confirm that the soil was in fact upland soil, because it's past the wetland line, and we went down, 20 inches to 2 feet, and it wasn't wetland soil. But we looked at the vegetation there on the ground, and it's
So what do you expect the ground cover to be
not grass.
for years? Well, Maureen said it was grass, but it's moss.
Well, most of what's what's in that planting area, from my recollection, is moss. And it's really
In
moss
some lawn areas.
and mowed over. So I think you would get your typical wetland edge vegetation. You get some nicer bases. I can't think of any plant names off the top of my head, but
I think the ferns are gonna creep in, the cinnamon ferns are gonna creep in. Once you stop mowing anything, it comes back. Again, if the commission is uncomfortable, we're happy to put a seed mix down. The problem with the seed mix is it takes a while to pop. This way, the area is stabilized with the existing lawn, just putting the shrubs in. But either works. We're happy to do either.
One thing to bear in mind, Maureen, is that obviously there's a lot of invasives in the area. So when you stop mowing it and you're waiting for natural vegetation to come back, you may very well get invasives. So if we were going to take the path of let it grow, I think the homeowners would have to commit to staying on top of invasives in that strip.
Right, and I spoke to the homeowners about it, and the glossy buckthorn was identified as an invasive. The commission requests that it be removed and managed, and they're happy to do that. Like you said, this would apply to the new proposed non-disturbed zone.
Yeah, I don't feel that you need to dig up the grass and put in a seed mix. I think that seed mix will just compete with the shrubs. But I think not just removing the existing glossy buckthorn, but keeping an eye out for things like bittersweet and garlic mustard and buckthorn that might come in as the place is naturalizing. So often when you leave something to naturalize, what you get is invasives. And that's what we're concerned about. I think that's what Brian is talking about, not just taking away the invasives that are there, but over time, as we're not mowing that grass, also pulling new buckthorns that come up, et cetera.
And that's what I meant. That's what I meant by saying the owners would need to commit to staying on top of that. As I said it, you couldn't see them, but they were nodding, so I think we have a general agreement. If I read your head motions correct. Can you come up to the podium and introduce yourself?
This is Payal Patel from 555 West Street. We're happy to continue to help maintain the space. We're not experts at this, so there would have to be a plan where maybe we get help from the Conservation Commission. Maybe Conservation comes out every few months and helps us with that. We really don't know much about these things, right? We're happy to play along, but it's not our area of expertise at all.
Understood, thank you.
Right, yeah, I'd be happy to come out and identify what's the invasives and teach you what they look like.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been living here for 12 years. We've seen plants grow in and become bigger. So if we leave it untouched and unmon, I imagine plants will start becoming more natural. It has been doing it since we've been here. I think the trees have become bigger, the shrubs have become bigger, so I don't imagine it would,
As long as it's the right things, they're growing and get
Right,
bigger,
right,
which is the concern.
yeah, right.
And do you have a preference whether the shrubs are all in a straight line like that or
Well,
more staggered?
our thinking was that, if then the landscaping aid companies who come in, would it be more clear for them? We wouldn't have to be out there flagging them down if we say, just don't follow the line, don't go beyond that line. It would be easier to communicate.
So what do you think about Tony's idea that perhaps you leave stakes until
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
chance to
also.
grow, so it's a clear.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, once it's established, you
Yeah.
can come out
That seems reasonable,
or plant tomatoes next to them.
right?
Hmm.
That's a good idea also. We do get, the only other thing I was gonna say, we do get deers who come in and have their dinner by our house. Do these plants seem appropriate for them?
You said that blueberries is included. Deer
Yeah.
love to eat blueberries.
Great,
So you may want to protect the blueberry bushes until
Initially.
they get established.
yeah. Thank you.
They sell deer netting at like Lowe's and Home Depot and stuff that you can wrap around your bush in the winter time.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Thank you, that's.
They might see that across the street.
Yes.
Yeah. So it sounds like we're gonna go with, we're not gonna restore, we're going to just have these plants
Sure.
in the line and with the mossy ground.
It's all right with me.
Okay. Maureen, my next question was, I asked that the driveway, the extent of the driveway remain the same and that the infiltration trench would be brought into the existing disturbed area of the driveway. Did that happen? I looked at that quickly and I.
It did. So if you zoom in, Chuck, you can see where the driveway enters off of West Street and he holds that line. Can you see it coming in off of West Street?
Yeah,
The edge of the infiltration trench, it's that line right there. So yes, it did come in.
okay. Thank you.
And Maureen, one thing I want to add. I'm not sure you were here when I brought up the point about the storm drain out front that's been clogged and a lot of erosion out front. I just want you to know that I did submit a C-Click Fix ticket to the town. Hopefully they'll address that. I did get an acknowledgement that they've received it, nothing beyond that yet, but.
That's great. Thank you.
Because if you look out there, you'll see that the drain is very much blocked. The water backs up, it runs through a crack in the curbing there. That's what's going across your property and down to the stream, bringing all that sediment with it. So hopefully that'll be.
Thank you.
Somebody from town was there to put soil down, but they just put soil down, so that could still erode.
Well, hopefully they did something on top to stabilize it. I'll swing by and take a peek at it. Okay, are there any other questions from commission members? Walter, anything from you?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Chuck, any more?
Sure, I did have another question. This is for the commission. So as Maureen correctly pointed out, the 25-foot Z and V where we usually put our granite bounds in is almost in the middle of the yard. How is that going to be handled with this project?
Sometimes you've had the granite bound be flush
Right.
on the ground when it's in the middle of the lawn.
Mhm.
Is that an option for this property?
Yeah, it is an option. I just don't know if, it's usually a discussion with the homeowners. the granite bound is a 4-inch by 4-inch granite bound that usually sticks up above the ground a foot and 2 feet in the ground. And if you were playing something out there, you may fall on it. It's just like a rock buried in the ground. So we've been putting them flush so people could mow over them, but it doesn't work if this is the play area because it could hurt somebody.
Right, it's still there to fall on.
So typically we ask for one to be at normal installation height, 2 inches, 2 feet in the ground, 1 foot above the ground at the property lines. That would be back here somewhere on the 25 foot, which would need to be surveyed in because it's not on this plan. And then one at this property line, and then in between, which is the lawn area, what would the commission like to do?
I'd like to see it flush as we've done at other places, so it's there, but it's flat. Now, it is a valid point. Are you think, I mean, I don't even know, do you have kids?
Yeah, they're elementary school kids and they're running around.
It certainly can't stick up above the ground.
No, so certainly not above the ground, yeah.
I have a question. In this case, what purpose would that serve? Because the 25-foot zone comes pretty far up. We've already established a 7-foot zone that's going to be maintained. Under what circumstances would that 25-foot line become important? Or a limiting factor for some other type of activity?
So, I agree with what you're saying, and I was hoping the conversation would turn that way. But I'll let you know what it helps me out with is anytime I go to any house that has these things in, you kind of get an understanding that A, it has an order of conditions, and B, this is where the 25-foot line is. So at the least, we should put one at the property lines. But maybe instead of in the center, they could demarcate that 7-foot restoration area or mitigation area by maybe a couple of signs that say that, mitigation area or habitat mitigation, something like that.
So you know how we occasionally will ask for a commitment that when the kids age out of a play structure, for example, that it be removed? What do you think about when the kids age out, when they're not grammar school running around, about adding one at that point?
I think one at both ends of the property line. It's not like out in the woods. I think someone could figure it out. And they're tall enough to see that, and the homeowners could help out also.
Would they be, they'd be flush mount though, wouldn't they?
Not at the property line.
Not at the front. There's going to be a monument sticking out right at the edge of the street.
I don't know where it's gonna go, but my idea is to spot it, not to have it flush with the ground because it would be lost. I don't know what's out there.
I mean, they don't mow out there, at least not currently. So I don't think it would inhibit that kind of landscaping or anything.
Seems like one would be right here where this shed is, somewhere in this area.
Yeah.
And the other one would be probably right here.
And how high up would that come off the ground if it's in the front yard?
Typically, they're a foot above the ground at the property line.
Is this something that we could possibly meet with Chuck out in the field and kind of take a look at the big picture as to, an appropriate location? And I mean, I think we're more than happy to incorporate the bounds. Just a thought.
I mean, I've got 5 or 6 bounds in my yard and none of them are more than this far off the ground.
Are they conservation bounds?
No, they're
Property bounds.
property bounds.
Oh,
I still hit them with the lawnmower.
Yeah, if they were taller, you wouldn't, you'd have to go around.
I'm just
Go right over them.
I'm just letting you know. I think it says it somewhere like on the order of conditions, which was from past commissions and past commission agents. That it was 2 feet in the ground, 1 foot above the ground. So you're gonna see a lot of them
I don't know. I think in this case, like 1 foot above the ground in an area, it's demarcating a 25-foot boundary, which isn't going to be maintained. It's a little bit of a hazard.
I don't see it. I think one's at the end of the property, one's, I mean, if a tree, a car could hit one of them, yeah, you're right about that.
Plow.
Not really, it's actually off the road, but why don't we do what Maureen said? I mean, I get what you're saying, and we've come up with some interesting ideas before. So why don't I go out there and check it out, come back to the commission, tell them what this creative idea we came up with is. I mean, we could forego them altogether, but I would like to get some habitat restoration signs so the lawnmower and landscapers don't run into the newly planted area and then put the money into that instead and just, you know, if this isn't going to work with the 25-foot line, let's do something else.
Yeah, I think we can de-emphasize the 25-foot line.
I think we are talking about that, but not totally de-emphasizing it.
Yeah, I just want to point out that the river is pretty straight along that edge, so the 25-foot line would be reasonably straight. So having one at each end, you could pretty much sight between one to the other pretty easily to figure out where it crosses the property. So I agree, we don't need to have them every 40 feet the length of the
Right.
property.
I think we pretty well conceded that. The question is whether to have one in the front or not. And
Yeah.
no, so let's go look. I'll be happy to tag along there, Chuck. We're gonna have to keep an eye on it.
Granite bounds.
Can the granite bounds be put on the street? Because their property boundary is several feet in from the bituminous berm edge of pavement. So are we allowed to put a bound in the right of way?
I think you run into plow problems then.
No,
I mean, not in the street,
Well, I-
but in the, if you look at their lawn, they have some lawn they're
I
maintaining
understand, but it's a
behind the
no curve.
bituminous berm.
Plows are famous for one.
so no, let's not continue on that. Yeah,
Okay.
no, we couldn't do that.
Okay, just checking.
So it's either no bounds at all or 2 bounds.
Or one at the back to remind the future conservation agents and commission.
They need to put 3 more bounds in.
I mean, at least that it's there and to trigger the thought that, oh yeah, this is approximately where it is, the river's straight. We can eyeball it, but it's something in the future we at least need to consider.
Sure. Okay, so we're gonna figure this all out.
Yes, we'll just take the step of action.
Leave it up to me. I'm gonna add in habitat restoration signs.
Do we have any signs like that already?
But we have bought them in the past, so the template's all made up if someone.
So do you understand what he's talking about there?
Would you provide the signs?
No, we wouldn't provide the signs, but we would provide the template, so for you to not have to design it. No, we don't provide the signs.
I mean, could we leave it up to the homeowner to figure out the most effective way to communicate with the landscapers not to mow the no-mow area?
Sure, but on the other hand, this is mitigation. You're approving this project. You have to protect your investment in this project. So I'm just saying, maybe this is something to think about. So this is supposed to be something in perpetuity. It's not, hey, it worked and that was 5 years ago. That's supposed to be there when I bring my grandchildren around. So that's why we use granite bounds and that's why we use habitat restoration signs. So that's all I'm saying.
Other side, there's signage on the other side where they development.
What's that?
There's a new development across the street. Did they put signage?
They put in the granite bounds. Yeah,
And they didn't have them flush. They're raised.
Okay.
yeah.
The question came up whether the homeowners could put a row of small stones marking the edge of that. And we've had people putting in a row of stones as they're 25-foot bound, and we had a decision that that wasn't really appropriate. What do people feel about stones marking the edge of the zone of,
So I would say
in the
no.
middle of this zone of natural
I
vegetation?
would say no, because stones can move. I think let's just go look, see, make a decision on the one by the front of the property, and then count on 2 points making a straight line.
Yeah, I think I also would prefer not to make a row of stones at the 7-foot line.
I mean, Chuck makes a good point. This is supposed to be a forever thing. And as it is, we're backing off, and Tony made a good argument for that. So this is just maintaining the ends.
There's been, there's a whole bunch of options. We don't have to go down the road. Let's just decide to figure it out later and bring it back to the commission with whatever we decide.
Okay, so having beaten that around, would that prevent us from moving forward tonight? I would say not. That's just, it's a placement or no placement, but we can decide on the rest of it, right?
Yeah, so we'll just talk about how to phrase that when we do our conditions.
Okay, so having said that, are there any other comments from commissioners? He says, looking to the right. No. Nothing from you, Walter? I don't see a hand. Nothing more, Chuck?
I don't see it, Walter.
Public comment?
Yeah. Do you folks have anything you'd like to add?
We're just happy that considering it, because we live right next door and
We're neighbors, we're just here for.
Okay. We need their names now that they've spoken.
Can you introduce yourselves?
Sure.
Frank and Grace McGrath.
And what's your address, please?
Pardon me?
What's your address?
16 Catherine.
Oh, okay. I park in front of your house, I think.
Pardon me?
I park in front of your house when I go in that area. So don't stone my car, please. Okay? In that case, so we should have a motion to close the hearing.
Tony, I move to close the hearing for 555 West Street.
Chirag Stalicker, second.
Walter Talbot's in favor?
Rolakis in favor.
Chirag Stalicker in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor. So now we can list conditions. What do you have as a starting point, Chuck?
I have 3 things written down. There was a discussion about tree protection, so I didn't know if you would say tree protection within 25 feet of the project, the work zone. That would capture any tree that was in that area. Say 5 feet, you can say 10 feet, but a number, and then it would capture the trees that you want to be protected. Yeah, we've had some problems lately with trees being whacked that were almost at the edge of the erosion control. So, and then I have stakes along the mitigation area. I wrote down an operation and maintenance plan, and I'm not sure where that ended up, if there was one or if there wasn't one. I thought Maureen said there was one. And then the granite bounds.
Maureen, did you start to say something?
No, she's, I don't think she's either.
I thought I heard a sound.
Was that Walter? I'm not sure what I'm looking at here.
Are there any other conditions that people can think that we
Walter.
talked about?
Yeah, it looks like Maureen wants to say something, eh?
No, I don't. I'm all set. Thank you.
Oh, she doesn't want to say anything.
Um,
My mistake.
Wait a minute, I do. So in the notice of intent submittal, Chuck, Kevin provided an O and M plan.
Okay, and with that,
So-
incorporate- Martha, what was your question about the O&M plan? What is it? The driveway drip trench was one of them. Did you have an O&M plan?
questions.
Okay, that was
My
the last
question was
one.
the Trees.
Yeah, the last one you had an O&M question.
Yeah, I don't remember one on this one. I'm not sure even what. it was
Okay,
about.
so the O&M's checked off. And we're gonna do the granite bounds, the site visit during the pre-activity meeting. How's that?
That sounds good.
Okay,
And I would say mark with orange fencing any trees less than 25 feet from the area where the construction is going on. I think that'll do it.
So limit of work or?
25 feet.
From the construction area?
You don't want, like 2x4s around them. You don't think it's close enough to have them whacked with anything?
I think the only trees, if you look at your plot plan, are way up at the top edge. Can you scroll your picture so we can see? Okay, so we've got a tree on the left, but that's outside the erosion control. So hopefully they won't be so stupid as to hit that one. And then up at the top right, there's 2 more trees. Keep
Right.
going up. Yeah, that tree and the one further down,
Is
that one and that one. Those are the ones I'm concerned about.
Well,
So
And the one down low is the one they're gonna trim to some extent, right?
they're gonna trim both of
Oh,
those.
okay.
They seem, I think construction fence would be fine, or even silt fence would be fine around that. Just something to mark it off.
Yeah.
Right, just so somebody's backing up their backhoe, they don't whack into it. Cause it's fairly narrow construction entrance going in there, so.
Okay.
I haven't conditioned this kind of thing before, so if you think we should put some boards around and strap them onto the tree to protect the bark,
I think they're pretty far away.
okay. So just some orange fencing to make them visible.
Or some, I'm gonna leave it as something to mark them off, because it could be anything, silt fence or even straw wattle. They're pretty far away. Tony, I was gonna ask you your condition about cultivars. Could you tell me, should we say true native? Is that the term that we use?
True native, non-cultivar.
So we are gonna talk about the bounds. Do you want to have a separate condition? At least leaving open the idea of signs?
I don't think that went over. I don't think anyone really latched onto the signs. So I'm good with it. I just wanted to bring it up.
Okay. Any other conditions anybody wants to throw in the mix? No? Okay. Having done that then, can I have a motion to issue for 555 West Street?
This is Tony. I move that we issue an order of conditions as discussed for 555 West Street.
I, Chirag Stalicker, second that.
Walter Talbot votes in favor.
Tony Rotalakis in favor.
Chirag Stalicker in favor.
Parth Moore in favor?
Brian Bowe in favor. Okay. Thank you. Thanks all for
Thank you for
coming.
coming. Good
Great.
luck.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you, Maureen.
Okay. So we had made it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Approved, yeah.
That was moved to issue means approved. Yeah, issue the order of conditions. And then I think Chuck has 3 weeks to get it written up.
21 days, but you'll get it next week. I'll be all set. We usually allow, there's a 10-day appeal period, and typically we, that depends, but typically that starts Monday.
On site as well.
Well, I wait, to be honest with you, I wait until the building department starts to get close to getting issued. So when they're just about ready to issue, it seems like all any changes that may happen, anything that I may need to check out has happened and we're reviewing it. So at that point, that's when I go out. So I'm the last person to sign the building permit before you get that. And I've done my site visit basically within the last 3 days. Yeah, so Yeah, so I'm not sure how far away you are with building permits, but no sense putting erosion control out or anything like that until you're really close to that time.
We haven't started the process yet, so we're trying to do the construction of this spring.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you could reach back out in the springtime, but typically it's the builder or architect submits all the plans, you get all the feedback from the engineering department, building department, do all that, then people start signing off, departments start signing off, and you'll see that on the last one, you'll reach out and say, look, we need to do a reactivity meeting, or I'll reach out to you at that point.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the project. Yeah, it's nice. Enjoy. I know.
Okay,
Alrighty.
so we had gotten into the discussion items. So next item is item 5, which is the second one in discussion items. And this is the Land Use Summit, which is scheduled for October 19th.
It's our second annual land use summit,
Second annual should be added to the title.
and we're gonna do it at Matera Cabin. I've talked to the Trails Committee, I've talked to the Town Forest Committee. October 19th seems to be the date that works, although people are, like Kathy Kelly can't go on that date now. But right now, that's the date that we're trying. It's gonna be a 3-hour event this year. We're hoping to have Andrew McNichol and a select board member as speakers. And then we were thinking of having each committee talk about something that they're interested in for 20 minutes to a half hour. And that would be broken up into discussion and then Q&A.
And by each committee, he means any committee in town who has a relatively similar mission. So trail,
The ones we're inviting, I don't know.
gotta be those people.
Yeah. Any committee in town, no. Town Forest Committee,
Trails.
Trails, Conservation, and then we're gonna do Open Land Trust. And we're also going to do,
I'm advisory.
Climate Advisory. I thought it was a sustainability, but it's Climate Advisory. We're gonna invite this,
Got established,
The tree preservation.
community preservation.
Oh,
That
it's still
has
in
not-
process.
that doesn't,
Well, no,
It's off the
there's a
ground.
committee,
Oh, there
there's a
is.
study group,
Okay.
but we're not having a vote to go before the town soon.
So-
That's in progress.
so I'm not sure the Climate Advisory is like an every year thing. Because they have a tree issue this year, and maybe that's something they'll talk about, but it's land use summit.
I know what's going on at least 3 years, because I went to their summer event. And they had been established at that.
No, I'm not saying they're not established. I'm just saying they're not a land-based
Fair enough.
committee.
Okay, I thought you were thinking. when new.
And you
But-
said this is a 3-hour thing, what 3 hours are we talking about?
Exactly. That's why it's on the, we wanted to find out. That's still the point that's up in the air. Like, when is everyone available? 10 to 1, 11 to 2, when's it best? In the morning or in the afternoon? What's the thought? I just need some feedback on that.
What day is it again? That's Saturday or Sunday?
I believe that's a Sunday.
No, it's October 19th is a Saturday.
Maybe it was Maureen that, it's working for me. Oh, God.
1 to 4 would work for me. But I had assumed it was gonna be 9 to 12.
Board schedules.
Well, I don't have a calendar, so. I don't know why? Anyone can check that. It'd be great.
It is on a Saturday.
It is.
October 19th. Yeah.
Yeah, I could do 10 or 11 as well, but I would happily go afternoon. If we start at 10 or 11, we're sort of going right through lunchtime.
Well, we provided some lunch last time, right? Some
Yeah,
pizza or something,
snacks.
snacks.
I don't remember.
We should upgrade that a little bit this year, but that's more in the discussion point. That's not what, so What were you thinking? Between 11 and 2 seems good? Or does that kill the day?
Um,
So the Trump
Yeah.
campaign is not.
um. Tony has to check sports schedule. I am trying to work something else into the same time, to the same day. So I would just as soon go in the afternoon, but I could do 11 to 2 if that works for other people. Chirag, is there?
I don't have a preference.
You have no preference?
Yes.
Walter, do you have a preference?
Unfortunately, I'm not available that day.
Okay, so then you have no preference.
And if it was in the afternoon, when would that be for you?
1 to 4?
1 to 4, okay.
Do you think that would work for the other groups, or do we just set it?
I
at
just
that?
need some numbers so I can get it back to the other groups. And figure out what's going on.
It's gonna be bad for me no matter whether it's 9 to 12 or 12 to 3. I'll gotta go to Chelmsford that day.
It's time for your kids to quit their sports activities.
Would later be better, or are you gonna be in Chelmsford from 9 to 3?
Oh, I gotta get to Chelmsford. To be there. Range from 2, but. 35 minutes to drive there, and then you gotta get there half an hour, so the game and then back. Starts on time.
So would 9 to 12 be better for you, and you could at least come to the beginning of
To
it,
get there
or
for a little bit of, yeah.
9 too early in the morning, Chuck?
Maybe that's, doesn't matter. I'll put those out to people and see what the other committees think. Okay, moving on.
So next one is item 6, Millette, Sums and Morgan. Site visit, we did, but what's rules suggested by?
Well, just the discussion about the site visit. Was there anything?
I see.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the update on that.
No one added to my list. Maybe it was complete. No, people thought it was pretty complete. Sure.
I looked at it, I didn't have time to study it, I was doing other things, so.
Yeah, I thought your list was good. They were things that we would like to see completed in this project. A lot of debris still outside the erosion control line.
It's mostly housekeeping.
Yeah.
Most of the issues, right? I mean, I'm presuming that the big issue of how water flows through the cells is presuming that works as designed.
At this point, there's still an assumption, but yeah.
Yeah.
Did I lose Walter? Walter, you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm awake.
Yeah, it seems like having a hard time with this computer.
So I will look at your list in more detail.
There were some of the trees and shrubs that were planted that looked like they might not make it to the 1-year mark, but they assured us that they would be replanted if needed.
Yeah, I mean, they will have a contract, warranty contract, so.
And there's a lovely mating pair of swans swimming in one of the ponds.
I hear they got named. One is Chuck and one is Alex, right?
Oh, no, we've already told several people.
Wow.
There's 2 swans out there. They're decoys.
I thought I bought them on Monday.
They. Wait a minute, it's Walter, is that one of them, or is it Martha and Brian? I'm not sure.
No, Walter wanted to pay some money.
Oh, yeah, well, Walter's gotta come up with the money.
fundraising
Well,
opportunity.
It's so pink flamingos to put there.
So Walter, they'll remain unnamed until we see the check.
Okay.
No, until it cashes.
I said, good luck.
Okay. Anything else on that topic? Okay. Next is a vote to accept Lot 5 off of Grove Street.
I have a motion I can read.
That would be good.
Okay. Motion says, motion to accept the transfer of care, custody, management, and control of the property known as Grove Street, Lot 5, Assessor's Map 44, Lot 136, as shown on a plan of land entitled Grove Street, Lot 5 Parking, prepared by Weston and Sampson Engineers, Inc., date January 23rd, 2023, AKA 371 Grove Street, acting by and through MGL Chapter 40, Section 8C, for the sole purpose of passive recreation and open space management, including the installation, maintenance, and repair of a passive trail network with associated signage, provided, however, that Reading Department of Public Works shall have the right to replace, repair, maintain, and make necessary improvements to the existing parking area on the property.
Can you pass that over to Shrock so he has the language?
Yeah. All right, anybody want to second that motion?
I can take a picture of this, right?
You can take the paper home.
Oh, I'll take a picture. I will lose it.
Anybody want to second Martha's motion?
I Xerox the liquor store.
It's now been seconded. Do you want to start the voting, Walter?
I do. Walter Talbot agrees and votes yes.
Tony Rodolakis in favor.
Xerox the liquor in favor.
Martha Moore in favor?
Brian Bowe in favor. Okay, great. So we have another piece of property.
Moving right along.
Okay,
And let me let you know that I brought this to this town forest committee. Let them know all about it. And they unanimously voted to be in favor of this article, which gives the conservation care and custody of Lot 5. So
okay.
no issues.
Oh, next item. The monthly nation meeting with DPW, October 1st. So
That's a big day.
Right, I was wondering, are they gonna be available at 1 to 2 if they're doing the grand opening at 3:45?
what are they doing, like setup or something?
Yeah, probably not. But we'll see.
So
I can go if it happens.
Okay.
I will also, unless I'm practicing. Okay, that takes care of that. Chuck, administrator's report.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let you know at Grove Street today, we had some tree cutting, so for a certain period of time, it was supposed to be all day, but DPW day isn't like a regular day. I think it's over around 2 or 2:30. And so for all that time, they were trimming trees at Lot 5, so Lot 5 was closed. We also have a schedule to put the stairs in at Lot 5. That will, at the edge or the end of Lot 5, the path that goes up and then crosses the gas line. We've designed stairs and the DPW will be implementing their building of those stairs in the next couple of weeks. I keep saying that. It was supposed to be this Wednesday, but Mike Hannaford wanted to do the trimming this Wednesday, so it's been pushed out. So it's probably going to be next Wednesday. Lastly, there was a little bit of erosion control put in down there. So they added some more stone in the forest area for a path, and they built it up and they put a couple of pipes underneath it. And hopefully that captured the water and directed it underneath the path instead of over the path and just bleeding out all
That's the place
that's
going down the slope.
down the slope heading towards,
Short Ave.
Stroud, yeah.
Okay,
Yep, tree work and stair work, and that's really all it was.
yeah,
Through the
we had an electronic board up telling people that it was going to be closed for today. So I didn't hear any blowback. Okay, and last is minutes for approval. Let's start with June 26th of 1912, I think it was. No, 2024. I assume by now everybody had a chance to review it.
I have not reviewed any this time, unfortunately.
I've reviewed them, but I was not at the meeting. I did watch it, however.
It's an administrative action to do these. I did send out a document from Mass Law saying that. I can send it out again. I can find it and send it out again. But this is considered administrative, so you don't need to be at that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that we need to, even though if we have a quorum, we should approve some of these minutes.
I agree. We got a
Okay.
backlog.
Have at least 4 of us read the June 26 minutes?
So I submitted some comments. So from my perspective, a motion to accept it as approved, as amended would be good from my side. Anybody care to make that motion?
I move to accept the June 26 minutes as amended.
Anybody want to second it?
This is Tony, I second.
Walter Talbot's in favor.
Tony Woodalakis in favor.
Chirag Talekar in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor. Okay, that's accepted. So next is July 14th.
August 14th.
Sorry, wow. Put my glasses back on. August
July-
4th.
July 10th?
No, August 14th, sorry. I was corrected by somebody in the room.
I move to approve the minutes on August 14th.
Anybody want to second that?
Walter looks like he has something to say.
Did he
Yeah,
freeze?
I'd mentioned at the last meeting a couple corrections. I don't know if they made it or.
So that would be motion to approve it as amended then. With your amendments from last meeting.
Okay.
Plus,
Sounds-
anybody else do?
I will change my motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I, Chirag Talekar, second.
Walter Talbot's in favor?
Tony Woodalakis in favor.
Chirag Talekar in favor.
Martha Moore in favor.
Brian Bowe in favor. Okay, next one is August 28th. Same questions. Has everybody read it or have enough of us read it?
Those I didn't read yet.
I haven't read.
Please. Even if all 3 of us have, then it doesn't sound a quorum, so we can't do.
We'll hold off on August 28th.
By any chance, did anybody get to 9/11?
Can we do amendments to August 28th then?
It hasn't been read, so.
Why don't you submit your amendments to Chuck by email and he can incorporate them in?
Yeah,
And same thing for Tony and Chirag. Once you read it, if you have any comments, send them to Chuck.
okay.
And yeah, so I think we're not ready for September 11th.
I didn't think so, but in case anybody read it out of order, so. All right, having said that, the last 2 we cannot approve. That is the last of our agenda. Any last topics before we adjourn? Any last topic? Walter, you had a last topic, didn't you?
Yeah, we tentatively have a date for a week from Friday at my house to get together to not discuss business. And I would appreciate if people could get back and say yay or nay,
For the
that they
record,
can make it or not, which is fine because we can always reschedule for some other time.
Did you say yes?
my wife and I will be there with belts on.
Yes, I will be there, but I will let you, send an email as well.
He did send an email, so just respond to
Yeah,
it.
figure it out.
Okay, I put it in my calendar, so I think I did respond yes as well. Walter, is that true?
So far, it's the 3 retirees are here.
Okay,
And now Chirag, so we're making great progress. Did you actually invite Chuck or is this top
Yes.
secret?
Chuck's invited,
Chuck responded yet?
not yet.
I think he wanted to get the minutes done first.
Friday night. Driving back to Reading.
Okay, he's gonna consider it. Okay, anything else to chat about? Are we done?
Thank you, Walter.
Okay, so we adjourn at 9 o'clock on the nose.
Okay, I
Sorry,
move
I
to
need a
adjourn.
motion.
Second.
Everybody in favor? At 9 o'clock. Okay, good.
All right. Good night, everyone. Good night, Walter.
Good night.
Good night.
Were the 9/11 minutes sent out?